Jake Morrison felt the ship shake violently around him. Red warning lights flashed across the control panel, while alarms screamed in his ears. He gripped his seat as the transport vessel spun out of control, falling toward the planet below like a burning rock. "Danny, can you pull us out of this?" Jake shouted to the pilot. Danny Cooper's hands moved fast over the controls, sweat running down his face. "The engines are dead, Captain. Something hit us hard. I can't get power back." Behind them, Lisa Kane worked frantically on her engineering console. Sparks flew from broken circuits as she tried to fix the damage. "Hull breach in Section 3, she called out. "We're losing atmosphere fast." Jake looked out the small window and saw the brown surface of Kepler-4 to be rushing up to meet them. This was supposed to be a simple supply run to the outer colonies. Now they were about to crash on a planet nobody cared about, far from any help. "Brace for impact," Jake ordered. He pressed himself back in his seat and watched the ground grow larger and larger. The ship hit the rocky surface with tremendous force. Jake felt his body slam forward against the safety straps. Metal screamed and bent around them, and everything went black. When Jake woke up, his head pounded like a drum. Blood ran down his face from a cut on his forehead. He tried to move and felt sharp pain in his left arm. The ship was silent now, filled with smoke and the smell of burning circuits. "Danny, Lisa?" called out, but got no answer. Jake unbuckled his safety straps and stood up slowly. His left arm hung wrong at his side, probably broken. He made his way to the pilot's seat and found Danny slumped over the controls. There was no pulse when Jake checked his neck. Lisa was trapped under a fallen beam in the engineering section. Jake tried to lift it, but even with his good arm, he couldn't move the heavy metal. She was gone too. Jake stood alone in the wrecked ship, feeling the weight of being the only survivor. He had led these people on this mission, and now they were dead because of it. Just like so many others during the war, the ship's emergency systems were barely working. Jake found a survival pack and checked what he had. Some food bars. Water for maybe 3 days, a basic medical kit, and his service weapon. Not much to live on in this empty place. He stepped outside and looked around. The landscape was harsh and rocky, with strange purple plants growing in patches. The air was thin but breathable. 2 small suns hung in the orange sky, giving everything an odd color. This planet was on the very edge of known space, far from any human settlement. Jake bandaged his arm as best he could and started walking. He needed to find shelter and water, or he would die here just like his crew. The broken ship behind him sent up a thin column of smoke into the alien sky. He walked for hours across the rocky ground. His arm hurt with every step, and the thin air made him breathe hard. Just when he thought he couldn't go any further, he saw something that made him stop and stare. Rising from a cliff face ahead of him was a massive structure. It looked like it had been carved from the rock itself, with smooth walls and strange geometric patterns. The building was huge, maybe as big as a city block back on Earth, but it was clearly old, very old, and not made by human hands. Jake had never seen anything like it. During the war with the Zephyrin Alliance, humans had encountered many alien species, but none of them built like this. The patterns on the walls seemed to shift and move when he looked at them, though that might have been because of his head injury. As he got closer, he found an opening in the structure. It was like a doorway, but much larger than any human would. Neat. The entrance was dark, but Jake could feel air moving inside. At least it would give him shelter from the harsh climate outside. Jake pulled out a small flashlight and stepped inside. The beam of light showed walls covered in more of those strange patterns. The corridor stretched ahead into darkness, wider than any hallway he had ever seen. His footsteps echoed in the empty space. He didn't go far before he found what looked like a large room. It was empty except for some raised platforms that might have been furniture for creatures much larger than humans. Jake set down his pack and decided this would have to do for shelter. The pain in his arm was getting worse, and he was exhausted from the crash and the long walk. He ate one of his food bars and drank some water, trying to make his supplies last as long as possible. Then he found a corner where he could sit with his back against the wall as night fell on the alien world. Jake sat alone in the ancient structure. He thought about Danny and Lisa, about the war humanity had lost, about all the friends he had watched die fighting the Zephyrians. Now he was probably going to die here too, in this empty place where nobody would ever find him. But Jake Morrison had survived worse things than this. He had made it through 3 years of brutal fighting against aliens who were stronger and smarter than humans. He wasn't going to give up now. He would find a way to survive in this place. He would figure out what this strange building was and maybe find something useful inside it. And somehow he would find a way to get off this planet and back to what remained of human civilization. Jake closed his eyes and tried to sleep, not knowing that he had just taken the first step toward changing the fate of the entire galaxy. Jake woke up to the sound of his own breathing echoing in the large room. His arms still hurt, but the pain was less than yesterday. He ate another food bar and drank some water, counting what he had left. Maybe 2 days of food if he was careful. He decided to explore more of this strange building. Maybe he could find something useful, like water or materials to signal for help. Jake picked up his flashlight and walked deeper into the structure. The corridors were all the same, wide, tall, and covered with those weird patterns. The patterns seemed to glow faintly in the dark, giving off a soft blue light. Jake touched one of the glowing symbols and felt a slight tingle in his fingers. The light got brighter for a moment, then went back to normal. After walking for what felt like an hour, Jake found something interesting. A section of the wall had symbols that were different from the others. These looked almost like they were carved deeper into the stone. When he shined his flashlight on them, they seemed to pulse with their own light. Jake pressed his hand against the symbols. The tingling feeling was stronger this time, and the symbols began to glow brighter. Then something amazing happened. Part of the wall started to move, sliding aside to reveal another corridor behind it. What the hell? Jake said to himself. I'd never seen anything like this before. The aliens humans had fought in the war, had advanced technology, but nothing that responded to touch like this. The new corridor was different. The walls were smoother, and there were more of those glowing symbols everywhere. Jake followed it. Carefully, his flashlight beam dancing across the strange markings. The air here felt different too, cleaner somehow. The corridor led to a much larger room than any he had seen before. Jake's flashlight beam couldn't reach the far walls. But as he stepped inside, something incredible happened. Lights began to turn on by themselves, filling the huge space with a soft, warm glow. Jake stood in the doorway, amazed. The room was filled with objects he couldn't understand. There were tall pillars covered in symbols, flat surfaces that looked like screens, and curved shapes that might have been furniture for very large creatures. Everything was made from the same smooth, dark material as the walls. As Jake walked into the room, more lights came on. It was like the building knew he was there and was welcoming him. He approached one of the tall pillars and saw that its surface was covered with moving symbols. They flowed like water, changing and shifting as he watched. When Jake reached out to touch the pillar, the symbols stopped moving. They arranged themselves into new patterns, and suddenly, Jake heard something that made his heart race. A voice. Speaking in a language he didn't understand. The voice came from everywhere at once, filling the room with strange sounds. Jake spun around, looking for the source, but saw nothing. Then the voice stopped, and the room was quiet again. "Hello," Jake called out. "Is someone there?" The voice came back, but this time it sounded different. It was trying to copy the sounds. Jake had made "Hello. Is someone there?" Jake's mouth fell open. Whatever was making the voice was learning to speak like him. "Yes, I'm here. Can you understand me?" "Yes, I am here." "Can you understand me?" the voice repeated, getting better at making the sounds. "Who are you?" Jake asked. There was a long pause. Then the voice said, "I am ... learning. You are ... human. You have the markers." "What markers? What are you talking about?" "It's the genetic markers. You carry the blood of the architects, can activate the systems." Jake didn't understand what that meant, but he knew this was important. The architects. Who were they? They were ... your ancestors. Long ago, They built this place. They left instructions. They said humans would come. Jake felt dizzy. His ancestors? That was impossible. Humans had only been in space for a few hundred years. How long ago? Many thousands of your years? The architects spread across the galaxy. They seeded worlds with life. Then they disappeared. But they left places like this, waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting for humans to find them, to claim their inheritance. Jake sat down hard on one of the curved objects. His head was spinning with questions. What inheritance? Knowledge? Technology? Power? The architects knew that one day humans would need these things. They prepared for your return. But I'm just one person, crashed here by accident. No accident. You were drawn here. The fortress called to you. It has been waiting for someone with the right genetic code. Jake looked around the room at all. The strange objects. What is all this stuff? Tools, weapons, information. The architects left everything you need to become strong. To become what you were meant to be. I don't understand. If people lost a war, were scattered across the galaxy, we're not strong. Not yet, but you will be. The enhancements are beginning already. What enhancements? Jake felt a strange tingling. In his broken arm, he looked down and saw that it didn't hurt anymore. When he moved it, there was no pain at all. He pulled back his sleeve and saw that the swelling was gone. The building is healing you, making you stronger. Beginning, Jake stood up and flexed his arm. It felt completely normal. Maybe even better than normal. How is this possible? The architects designed these places to change humans, to unlock the potential in your genes. You are the first, but you will not be the last. The first what? The first of the new humans. It's the enhanced ones. It's the ones who will take back the galaxy. Jake looked around the room again, but now everything looked different. These weren't just strange objects. They were tools waiting to be used. Weapons waiting to be wielded. Knowledge waiting to be learned. What do I have to do? He asked. Learn. Grow stronger. Become what the architects intended. And then find others like you. Jake nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand what was happening to him, but he knew. His life had just changed forever. He wasn't just a crashed pilot anymore. It was something new. Jake spent the next few days learning about the fortress. The voice, which he started calling Oracle, taught him how to use the basic systems. Lights would turn on when he entered rooms. Food and water appeared from hidden panels when he was hungry or thirsty. The building was taking care of him like a mother caring for her child. But Oracle said this was just the beginning. There were much bigger changes coming. Your body is ready for the next phase, Oracle told him on the 4th day. The enhancement process can begin. Jake was standing in front of a large wall covered with glowing symbols. His reflection looked back at him from the smooth surface, but he could see he already looked different. His skin was clearer, his eyes brighter, even his hair seemed thicker. What kind of enhancements? Jake asked. His physical improvements, your strength, speed, healing ability. Your mind will become faster too. You will be able to process information, like the architects did. Is it safe? The architects designed this process for humans. Your body wants these changes, has been waiting for them. Jake thought about his old life. He'd been a good soldier, but not special. Average strength, average speed, average everything. The war had shown him how weak humans really were compared to other species in the galaxy. What do I have to do? Enter the enhancement chamber. Let the process begin. A section of the floor opened up, revealing stairs that led down into a lower level. Jake had never been down there before. The stairs were lit by those same blue glowing symbols, leading into darkness. Jake followed the stairs down into a round room. In the center was something that looked like a bed made of the same dark material as everything else. Above it, mechanical. Arms hung from the ceiling, tipped with tools he didn't recognize. Lie down on the platform, Oracle said. Jake climbed onto the strange bed. It was warm and seemed to mold itself to fit his body perfectly. What happens now? Sleep. When you wake up, you will be different. The mechanical arms came to life, moving down toward Jake. He wanted to jump up and run, but Oracle's voice was calm and peaceful. Do not be afraid. This is your destiny. Something pricked Jake's neck, and he felt a warm sensation spreading through his body. His eyes grew heavy, and he fell into the deepest sleep of his life. Jake woke up feeling like he had been struck by lightning. Every part of his body tingled with energy. He sat up quickly, too quickly, and found himself standing on the floor before he realized he had moved. Easy, Oracle said. Your body is still adjusting. Jake looked down at his hands. They looked the same, but when he made a fist, he could feel incredible strength in his fingers. He walked to the wall and pressed his palm against it. The hard material felt soft under his touch, like he could push through it if he wanted to. Feel? Oracle asked. Different? Really different. Like I could run for miles or lift a car. Jake flexed his arms and felt muscles that were definitely bigger than before. The physical changes are just the beginning. Your mind has been enhanced too. As Oracle said this, Jake realized he could understand things he couldn't before. Symbols on the walls weren't just pretty patterns. They were a language, and somehow he could read them now. They told stories about the architects, about their travels across the galaxy, about the technology they had created. I can read the symbols, Jake said, amazed. Yes. You now have access to the knowledge of the architects. Their science, their weapons, their strategies. Jake walked back upstairs to the main room, and everything looked different. He could see things he had missed before, hidden panels in the walls, secret compartments in the floor. The whole fortress was like a puzzle, and now he had the key to solve it. Show me the weapons, Jake said. Follow the blue lights. A path of glowing blue symbols appeared on the floor, leading to a part of the fortress Jake had never seen. Followed them through several corridors until he reached a massive door covered in warning symbols. Place your hand on the scanner, Oracle said. Jake pressed his palm against a glowing circle on the door. There was a soft beep, and the huge door slid open. The room beyond was filled with weapons unlike anything Jake had ever seen. They floated in the air, held by invisible forces. Some looked like rifles, but made of materials that seemed to bend light around them. Others were clearly meant to be worn like armor, but they looked alive somehow. These are architect weapons, Oracle explained. They respond to thought as much as touch. Pick one up. Jake reached for something that looked like it might be a rifle. As soon as his fingers touched it, the weapon came alive. It changed shape to fit his hands perfectly, and information flooded into his mind. He knew exactly how to use it, how to aim it, what it could do. This thing could destroy a tank, Jake said. Much more than a tank. That weapon can punch through the hull of a battleship. Jake picked up other weapons, and each one taught him its secrets. There were guns that could fire through solid walls, armor that could turn invisible, devices that could control electronics from a distance. Why did the architects make all this? Jake asked. They knew that their children would face dangerous enemies. They prepared you for war. Jake thought about the Zephyrians and all the other alien species that looked down on humans. With these weapons, with his new abilities, he could fight back. He could make them pay for what they had done too. His people. There are training chambers deeper in the fortress, Oracle said. You must learn to use your new body and these weapons. The enhancement process will continue as you train. Jake nodded. He could feel the power flowing through him, begging to be used. For the first time since the war ended, he felt hope. Not just hope for himself, but for all of humanity. How long do I need to train? Till you are ready to change the galaxy. Jake smiled and picked up the rifle-like weapon. It felt like it belonged in his hands. He was no longer just Jake Morrison, the failed soldier. He was becoming something new, something the galaxy had never seen before, something that would make humanity great again. Jake had been training for 3 weeks. Every day he grew stronger and faster. The weapons felt like extensions of his own body now. He could hit targets from impossible distances and move through the training courses like a ghost. But Oracle had been quiet lately, and Jake could tell something was bothering the ancient AI. What's wrong? Jake asked one morning as he finished his combat practice. I have been monitoring signals from across the galaxy, Oracle said. They're disturbing. Developments. What kind of developments? You are not the only human who has found an architect's site. Jake stopped cleaning his weapon. There are others like me. Yes, 7 others have been detected, but there is a problem. Some of the sites have gone silent. What do you mean silent? More signals. No more enhancement processes. Something has destroyed them. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The Zephyrians. But the pattern suggests they are searching for architect technology. They may have discovered what is happening to humans. Oracle showed Jake a holographic map of the galaxy. 7 points of light blinked on distant worlds. 3 of them were red, meaning they were no longer active. The humans at those sites, Jake said. What happened to them? Unknown. But I fear the worst. Jake studied the map. The remaining 4 sites were scattered across different sectors, all far from major trade routes, just like this one. Can you contact the other sites? I have been trying, only to respond. The others may be maintaining communication silence. Show me. The hologram changed, and Jake saw 2 faces appear in the air before him. One was a woman with short blonde hair and tired eyes. The other was a man with a beard and scars on his face. These are Kate Sullivan and Ben Torres, Oracle said. They have been enhanced like you. Jake looked at their faces. They looked different from normal humans, the same way he probably looked different now. Their eyes were brighter, their features sharper. Can they see me? Not yet. This is recorded, but I can establish real-time communication if you wish. Do it. The hologram flickered, and suddenly the woman was looking directly at Jake. Her eyes widened in surprise. Who are you? She asked. Jake Morrison. I'm like you. Enhanced. Where are you? Deplore for to be you. Proxima Station. Well, what used to be Proxima Station? Zephyrians destroyed it. But I got to the architect's site before they found it. The bearded man, Ben, leaned into view. I'm on Titan 7. Been here for 2 months. The enhancement process is incredible, isn't it? Jake nodded. Oracle says some of the sites have been destroyed. Kate's face darkened. We know. I saw what happened to the site on New Geneva. The Zephyrians glassed the whole planet from orbit. They're hunting us, Ben said. Somehow they know we exist. How is that possible? Jake asked. Oracle's voice came through the communication system. The Zephyrians have been searching for architect technology for years. They know it exists, but they could never access it because they lack the genetic markers. So when humans started activating the sites, Kate said they noticed. We're in danger, Ben said. All of us. Jake thought about this. He had been so focused on his training and his growing power that he hadn't considered the bigger picture. If the Zephyrians were actively hunting enhanced humans, then hiding wasn't going to work forever. We need to fight back, Jake said. Fight back? Kate laughed bitterly. There are only 4 of us left, maybe fewer. The Zephyrian Alliance has thousands of ships. But we have architect technology. Weapons they've never seen. Jake's right, Ben said. I've been testing the weapons here. They're beyond anything the Zephyrians have. Oracle spoke up. The enhancement process has more phases. You are all still in the early stages. There are abilities you have not yet unlocked. What abilities? Kate asked. Mental linking. Shared consciousness. The ability to control multiple systems simultaneously. The architects designed the enhanced humans to work as a collective mind when necessary. Jake felt a tingle of excitement, and we could coordinate attacks across the galaxy.
Nothing more than that?
Oracle said.
Tactics?
You could share knowledge, tactics even. Sensory input. You could fight as one being with multiple bodies. That sounds dangerous, Kate said. All evolution is dangerous, Oracle replied. But it is necessary for survival. Over the next hour, they planned their first joint operation. There was a Zephyrian research station in the Vega system that had been studying and captured human technology. It was lightly defended but strategically important. If we hit it together, Ben said, we can test our new abilities and send a message to the Zephyrians. What message? Kate asked. That humanity isn't done fighting, Jake said. They spent days preparing. Oracle taught Jake how to pilot. The architect's ships hidden deep in the fortress. They were unlike anything humans had built, smooth, conic-looking vessels that responded to thought as much as controls. Jake's ship emerged from a hidden bay in the cliff face, visible to most sensors. It moved through space like a living thing, faster than anything he had ever flown. The attack on the Vega station was perfect. The three enhanced humans struck simultaneously from different angles. Their ships cut through the Zephyrian defenses like knives through paper. The station was destroyed in minutes, with no human casualties. But the real surprise came during the battle. Jake found he could sense what Kate and Ben were thinking. Their tactical awareness merged with his own. They fought not as three separate people, but as parts of a single incredibly effective fighting force. After the battle, they met again via hologram. All three were smiling. "Did you feel it?" Kate asked. "It's like we were connected," Ben said. Jake nodded. "Oracle, is this what you meant by shared consciousness? This is only the beginning. As more humans are enhanced, the network will grow stronger. You will become something the galaxy has never seen." "How many sites are left to find?" Jake asked. "Hundreds, hidden on worlds across the galaxy, waiting for humans to discover them." Jake looked at his new allies and felt something he hadn't felt since before the war: hope for the future. "Then we better get started," he said. The war for humanity's future was about to begin. 6 months after the attack on Vega Station, Jake stood in the main chamber of his fortress, surrounded by holographic images of 12 other enhanced humans. What had started with just 3 survivors had grown into something much more powerful. The network was complete now. 13 enhanced humans spread across the galaxy, all connected through the architect technology. Jake could feel their thoughts, their emotions, their determination. They had become something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. "The Zephyrian fleet is moving toward Earth," said Nick Palmer, from his position near the core worlds. 200 ships. They plan to finish what they started. Jake felt anger flow through the network from all of them. Earth was barely defended now. Most of the human fleet had been destroyed in the war. The few remaining colonies were scattered and weak. "They think they can wipe us out completely," said Kate Sullivan. Her site had been discovered, but she had escaped with several architect ships before the Zephyrians arrived. "Let them come," Jake said. "It's time to show them what we've become." Through the network, Jake could see what each of his allies saw, know what they knew. Ben Torres was hidden in an asteroid field with a small fleet of architect ships. Kate was moving through Zephyrian space, invisible to their sensors. The others were positioned at strategic points across the galaxy. "Oracle, begin the final enhancement," Jake said. "Are you certain?" "Once this process begins, there will be no going back. You will become something beyond human." Jake looked at the holographic faces of his allies. They all nodded. They had already come too far to turn back now. "Do it." Jake felt the fortress around him come alive in ways it never had before. The walls pulsed with energy. The architect technology that had been sleeping for thousands of years awakened completely. Jake felt his consciousness expand, connecting not just with the other enhanced humans, but with every architect's site across the galaxy. His body changed too. He could feel his muscles becoming denser, his reflexes faster, his mind processing information at incredible speeds. But the biggest change was in his awareness. He could sense every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology that carried architect design. "I can feel everything," Jake whispered. "As can we all," Kate's voice came through the network. "We are one mind now, one purpose." The Zephyrian fleet reached Earth and began their attack. Human defense stations fired desperately at the alien ships, but they were hopelessly outnumbered. The Zephyrian admiral broadcast a message across all channels. "Humans of Earth, you have harbored terrorists who attack Zephyrian installations. Surrender now or face complete destruction." That was when Jake and his network struck. 13 architect ships appeared out of nowhere, moving faster than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. But these weren't normal ships anymore. Jake could control them all with his mind, see through their sensors. Fire their weapons with a thought. The first wave of Zephyrian ships exploded before they even knew they were under attack. Jake's ships moved like dancers through space, impossible to hit, deadly accurate with every shot. In minutes, 50 Zephyrian vessels were destroyed. Impossible, the Zephyrian admiral said. What are those ships? Jake opened a communication channel to the enemy fleet. When he spoke, his voice was joined by the voices of all 13 enhanced humans, creating a sound that was both beautiful and terrifying. We are humanity evolved. We are what you made us become, and we are done running. The battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Jake and his network fought as a single being with multiple bodies spread across space. They anticipated every Zephyrian move, coordinated attacks across vast distances, shared information instantly. But the real surprise came when other human ships joined the fight. Normal humans, inspired by seeing their enhanced brothers and sisters in action, attacked the Zephyrian fleet with desperate courage. The network reached out to these ships, sharing tactical information, guiding their attacks. All human vessels, Jake broadcast, follow our lead. We will show you the way to victory. The tide of the battle turned completely. The mighty Zephyrian fleet, which had conquered dozens of worlds, was being torn apart by a force they couldn't understand or fight. Admiral, one of Jake's allies, spoke directly to the Zephyrian commander. Order your fleet to surrender. This is your only warning. We will never surrender to humans, the admiral replied. Then you will die. The last Zephyrian ship exploded in a ball of fire. The battle was over. Earth was free, but Jake wasn't done. Through the network, he could sense Zephyrian worlds across the galaxy. Military bases, government centers, the heart of their empire. It's time to end this war completely, he said. The 13 enhanced humans struck everywhere at once. Zephyrian fleets found themselves under attack in dozens of systems simultaneously. Their communication networks went dead as Jake's people took control of their technology. Within hours, the mighty Zephyrian alliance was in chaos. The final blow came when Jake appeared in the skies above the Zephyrian homeworld in his flagship. The planet's defenses fired everything they had at him, but the Architect's shields absorbed the attacks like they were raindrops. People of Zephyr, Jake broadcast to the planet below. Your government has fallen. Your fleets are destroyed. But we offer you something your leaders never offered us: mercy. The surrender came 3 days later. The Zephyrian Council faced with the complete destruction of their military, had no choice but to accept Jake's terms. Standing on the balcony of the former Zephyrian palace, Jake looked out over the capital city. Ships from dozens of human colonies were arriving, carrying people who thought they would never see their homeworlds free again. What happens now? Kate asked. She was standing beside him, along with Ben and several other members of the network. We rebuild, Jake said, but not the way things were before. We're going to create something better. The human dominion, Ben said, reading Jake's thoughts through their connection. With enhanced humans as the leaders, Kate added, and normal humans as our partners, Jake said. We're all still human, just different versions of human.
Over.
The following months, Jake and his network established a new order in the galaxy. Enhanced humans took control of the most important positions, but they used their power to lift up all of humanity. Human colonies that had been struggling to survive suddenly had access to architect technology. Diseases were cured. Worlds were terraformed in weeks instead of decades. Other alien species watched in amazement as humanity transformed from a defeated, scattered race into the dominant force in the galaxy. Some tried to resist, but they quickly learned that fighting the enhanced humans was impossible. Jake stood in his fortress, now the capital of the human dominion, and felt the presence of thousands of enhanced humans across the galaxy. More people found architect sites every day, joining the network, becoming part of something greater. Oracle, he said. The architects would be proud. Yes, Oracle replied. You have become what they always intended, the next step in evolution. The new apex species. Jake smiled as he felt the thoughts and emotions of his extended family flowing through the network. Humanity had lost everything and been forced to the edge of extinction. But from that defeat, they had become something magnificent. The galaxy belonged to humanity now. It always would.